Hello and welcome to B&D. Please like, comment, share, subscribe and hit the little bell for your notifications. Meow. Hello, and today is the 8th. It's the 8th of August, and this is a velvet dress, but it's pretty short and it's a bit cold out today, so I put on a black belt, which I got from Temu for £1.20 with this pleated skirt and my stockings because it's gotten bloody cold. So what am I going to do today? Well, we're going to discuss something. Someone asked me how much money I spend, and I'm going to explain it to you in simple terms, and that it's probably not enough. So let me put this onto the tripod bit, and then I don't have to hold it. Okay, right. I ran, when I first started over 2 years ago, technically a £25 a week budget for food, but it wasn't all for food. So therefore I set out technically £3 a day, and the other 4 went for household items, cleaning stuff, things like that, if it got used and if I needed to buy them. So how are we going to explain this to how what happened is that I did better than I thought. For 2 years, I have been running a very tight budget. And frankly, the way I run a budget is nothing like how Reeves runs a budget. My budgets are immensely tight. When I get my full money, all the bills are paid out of it, and no money is ever touched that belongs to a bill. That is my number one rule. If money is put away for a bill, the money is to pay that bill. Only the excess that I put away can be used if I see fit. Now there's a complicated one. Because the thing comes is that I have bills which are monthly, but I also have bills which are yearly. For a yearly bill, I can't have the big amount of money being asked for in one particular month, which means that I put the money away each month to cover the bill, but I put away more than the current bill to allow for inflation of the increase of prices that I expect that bill to have. So let us take it that I put away for house insurance. Say I put £12 away, that would be £144 a year. If I subsequently, there's a long word, get a house insurance policy for £120, I have the difference. Now, what I can do is one of two things. I could leave that money in for the following year, or I could take it out and use it for something else. That is my decision because I have enough. What has been happening is that I have bolstered up all of my accounts for future bills, and have now, after this length of time, got to a point where I can cover bills that come in for 3 months without any money coming in, since the government are mean and they can stop your benefits and what money you do get for 3 months. So I have eliminated that threat by putting money away for it. I had money that I had put away before I ended up transferring from working tax credit to universal credit. And that covered the bills for the 7 weeks that they didn't give me any money. But I never thought that I would ever need it. So there was never any allowance for food within that budget. Now there is. Now I have probably about a 4 or 5 month food budget allocation that I can use in what's called the emergency food allowance, or any other thing that I want to call it at the time. My emergency food budget, whatever, it makes no difference. So I have worked to get a level that means that I won't go back and not have money to buy food, and I will have money to pay the current bills. And I have money to pay bills which are coming in the future. Now, on all of the cases, I am ahead for bills on the future, and I always budget more for a future bill since I have no control over the market, and any massive jumps in costs I need to be able to cover. In association with all of that, there is an emergency item replacement fund. And there's a complicated one. This fund is put together, and I've always had one to a point, that covers any item that might break in the house that I need to replace. Technically important stuff like a fridge or a microwave or anything like that. The electrical item fund will deal with that if it comes up, and then I will take money each month and top that back up again. So I don't have to borrow money, and I don't have to get into debt for money. Now, let's make it clear right now that I have zero debt. I've always ran a very tight credit card budgeting, which means I have no credit card debt. I have, as you watch this, I have zero debt whatsoever. And that is the only way I can operate. But here we go. Let us explain my food budget, what it was when this happened a few years ago. Now, I don't have enough pound coins to do this, so I've had to use pennies and tuppences. That's a pound, that's £2. Okay, use your imagination. I only have enough pennies and tuppences for 3 weeks as a display. So this is 1 week's worth of money, that's the second week, and that's the third, and that would be the fourth. Yeah, it is absolutely mad. But here is how my food budget works in a simple term, because frankly, I would just take the whole week's money and allocate it to myself, and then I would run the budgets each day. But each day the budget runs as following. On Monday, I have £3. Oh, it doesn't look much, does it? Now, I get my 2 meals out of this £3, but because I run on the tightest and most horrid system there is, I don't often, or I didn't, spend the whole of my allowance each day. So what would happen? Now, let's take this. Say I spend £2 on the Monday. That's that gone. I have £1 left. And now I've entered Tuesday. On Tuesday, I get £3. Now I have £4. Instead of just blowing the whole £4 on something, I run tight again. And maybe I only spend £1. And you might think that's impossible. It isn't impossible to just spend £1 for 1 day's worth of meal. If what you have is a tin of spaghetti on a piece of on a piece of toast and you got the bread from somebody else. So you've spent technically 20 pence and that was one meal. So therefore, to spend another 80 pence on something else for tea isn't impossible to do. So I'm now left with £3 to go into Wednesday. I now get my £3 for Wednesday. I now have £6. God, I'm rich. But still, I don't spend it. I spend £2. I've got £4 to enter Thursday. Add 3, I now have 7. This continues for the whole of the week, technically speaking. Although there may be times when we'll see. Let's go to Friday, because Friday's always interesting. So say I spend another £2. It's not hard for me to spend £2. I can make meals. I have shown you I can make meals. And if you go onto my D's food review, I will show you how to make meals for £1. I have £5. I'm entering Friday. Another £3. So what have I got now? I have £8. Friday is an interesting day for me because my sister takes me to dinner. Therefore, if I pick the right item for dinner, which would be pie, after having the pie and I have nothing beforehand and I go straight for the pie at 2 o'clock, I'm full. Therefore, Friday, I carry the whole balance across to the next day. So £8 plus 3, £11. And of course, I'm not going to spend that much. Even if I go overboard and spend the 3, I'm still got 8. And I pass into Sunday and get another 3. And I'm back to 11. I won't maintain spending 3 because I didn't. I never spent more than 3. So I would on Sunday maybe spend 2. Now I have £9. I have passed the whole week, and out of my £21, I have £9 still left. That £9 has 2 options. One, I put it away and forget about it and put it into the emergency food budget straight away on week 1. Or do I spend it on stuff that I can add to things? Now, I would never do this every single week. I wouldn't pass money and go and just spend it on something. I could buy more expensive item that actually provides meals for more days of the week, but I need a higher amount of money. Let us just assume that you want to spend £5 on a bag of 80 chicken nuggets. Not unreasonable for my daughter, because that seems to be what she lives on. If you divide them into 8 or 9 chicken nuggets, and that's what you have, you can see how many meals you can get out of it. Out of the 80, about 10. So that £5 is going to get you 10 meals. So 50p a meal. There we go again. But if I put that £9 away into emergency, and this happens throughout the time, by the time we hit the end of the month, no matter what I have, it will go to be put away. It doesn't get used if it's not needed. It doesn't get wasted. I don't just go out and blow it on expensive bars of chocolate. Yeah, this was only 50p, by the way. But I don't go off and buy piles of stuff with it. I will use it if necessary to buy stuff which will benefit me ahead of time. So always thinking about buying a bulk item that can be divided and will do many meals. I am not going to want, which we have done up here, I won't go off and buy 500 grams of mince and then just use it all in 2 or 3 days. I might divide it into 5 and have 100 grams in each meal. And there you go. We have 5 meals, but I don't want one meal of mince the one day, and then the next, and then the next, and then I don't want that. So eventually you end up with mince, probably chicken and stuff that you've bought in bulk, even chops, even pork chops. If you can get a pack of 8 and it's like £3 odd, you don't want them every single day. So if you keep the meats, then you can go into those at a future time and pull out the meat. And then you just need to put some veg with it, or whatever you're going to put with it, or some chips, whatever. Now, those meals continue past your budget month, and therefore you don't need to spend if you already have them, or if you're buying a pack of 8 or a pack of 10 of something and you're not going to use it. If you buy a bag of potatoes, 2.5 kilograms, you're probably going to not really want to have potatoes every day. So my budget of £21 a week, that went pretty well. If I only ever spend £2, I'm only spending 14 and saving 7. And that's mostly what happened during the first year or so. I used the tightest. I only ever went for, and now I have a higher budget because I have now completed the challenge of reinforcing that I will have money if somebody stops my payment, that I won't suffer, because if I suffer, then I will get immensely depressed. So therefore, I have safeguarded myself, not just to pay the bills, which are automatic out of my bank, which means if I don't have enough money in, I'll get bank charges on top of not having money to pay it. But I also have money to buy food. I also have money to pay bills which aren't due yet. But I will never, ever, and this is what is important, if you put money away for a bill, you never touch that money other than for the bill. So right now I run a £15 a month house insurance policy. Well, that's how much goes away for the house insurance, which is what, £120 for the 10, £60 for the 5, that's £180, and my house insurance will not be £180. Really has to go up a lot for it to get to there, because my last one I think was 114. So I budget above where I'm going to have a safeguard, to have something to help if it doesn't. And once I get to a point where you're going, I don't need this money here, I can pass it to something else. What else needs the money? It isn't automatic food. What else could do with the money, because I'm a little concerned that the amount of money is not going to be enough for it. And that's where it'll go. Each item I write down in a book. Every single month, my allowances, what I get, what goes out, what's being stored, what's being kept to pay bills is written down. I know precisely, month by month, how much is in to cover a bill, and if I need to pay it sooner or get rid of it sooner, I know how much I've got, and can I cover what it is? So this is how you run a budget, not the way Rachel Reeves does. My budgets run tight because I constantly look for bargains. I constantly look for the lower price. And even now I have a little more money because I've been tight. I just can't spend it. I will go out of my way to find things. I will find bargains, but I'm now stuck to finding bargains. So when I go out for dinner, you might go, well, you've gone out for dinner a lot this week. Up at the caravan, yeah. I think I eat better up at the caravan because I find a lot more bargains. So therefore, my food budget goes much, much further. But I'm still running at what is the benefits I can get. You know, I don't need to spend this much money. So my treat of having something out, you know, today is Friday. I got Taco Bell. That is all I've had all day. And I actually brought one of my tacos home because it doesn't need to be hot, because I picked the chicken one. So I can have that, and it's already 3 o'clock. Even if I have that and get a drink, I'm not going to want anything till later on. And am I going to want anything big? Probably not. I don't get near my 2,000 calories. I think I've only once got near my 2,000 calories that I'm supposed to have in a month. So I don't get near my calories, so that's good. So that's how you run your budget. I might have more now, but I'm still not going out and just buying this, that, and the other and paying whatever the price is. I still look. Yeah, if I buy this and it's going to make me 3 meals and cost me £1 odd, I could have a little bit of luxury if I can come across something that's cheap, like a trifle. Yeah, I got a trifle. I have the last bit of it to finish off. It cost me £1.55, so 50 pence a day for a pudding, and it's lovely. So I will do that. I will run what I have to run. I will not overdo anything. I will, bit like buying dresses, I will not go and buy a £5 dress. That is just the budget I run. That is just how I think. I don't want to spend that much money. Buy one dress at £5, buy 5 dresses at £1. I much prefer the 5 at £1 when I can find them. And I have still found I've got a green dress for £2, so, you know, and it's named. So this is a very long episode, but it is a very important episode. Run your budget right. Make sure you know I will not go out with a credit card to buy food. I will go out with the money to buy food. Because a credit card, you don't say how much you're spending. Remember that. Until next time, bye for now.
Next time.